one. Boom! Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of FairShare Gaming Podcast. My name's Jared. This is Peter, and today we're going to be talking about a whole lot of stuff. But first, how are you, Peter?
I'm good. Happy Halloween, Jared.
Thank you. Um, yeah, no, Halloween. It's crazy. Spooky season. I've been playing Visage, and I've had some jump scares already in that game.
Yeah.
What a
You been liking
complex.
it so far?
It's good, but it's complex. Like the
Yeah.
puzzles in it are not easy puzzles to overcome. Like
They
they're
don't play. Yeah.
no, like it's just a maze of shit you have to figure out, and along the lines you have this crazy old lady chasing you, but that's besides the point. Um, but yeah, so first we're gonna go over some new games coming out this next couple weeks. So we have seven big ones of note. We have Binding of Isaac's Repentance coming out November 4th for all platforms. We have Call of Duty Vanguard coming out November 5th for
Oh,
all major platforms except for Switch. We have Forza Horizon 5 coming out November 9th for Series X, Xbox One, PC. We have Jurassic World Evolution 2, which I'm actually kind of excited for because we played a little bit of Jurassic Evolution 1 together.
yeah, a while ago.
And I'm excited to see if they improved on some of the stuff that was kind of meh in the first one, but kept the stuff that was good from the first one. So I'm really hoping they made a good game there.
Like Jeff Goldblum.
Exactly. And that's coming out November 9th for all except Switch again. Then, once again, the grand release of Skyrim coming to the new next gen consoles. Yes, yes, excellent release. We have the GTA trilogy, the new remastered definitive edition coming out November 11th on all platforms. And then Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic is coming out November 11th for Switch, which is, I mean, it's an old game. Like they're doing the remake of it, so I probably won't get it just because it's kind of, no offense to anyone who loves the game, but it's kind of poo. It did not age well compared to like what it once was.
They being hard on the Switch too, just the controls.
Yeah, I
But
kind of think the same. Unless they enhanced it to be better for the Switch, I don't know. I doubt they did, but you never know. Yeah, so those are our game releases. So we will jump right into our question, and that question is: Are battle royales or traditional multiplayer the future of online gaming? I mean,
wow,
over like battle royales have become a huge thing. Like since PUBG, like every major like shooter or action, any of those genres have come out with a battle royale version of their game. I mean, even Fallout tried to make a battle royale, failed miserably, failed absolutely miserably, but they tried to make a battle royale. So it's got to beg the question that is traditional multiplayer on its way out? Because that honestly, you don't see a ton of gameplay anymore from streamers or anyone that just play traditional, like let's use Call of Duty for an example, traditional search and destroy team deathmatch that they stream to people on the internet.
Jared, I disagree.
You,
I do not. I think battle royales will be a part of the gaming universe for quite a while, but I do not think they're the definitive answer to multiplayer.
really?
I do not think so.
It
Truly do not.
so why do you think that? Like what are some of the reasons you have that you think that it's not the future of online gaming? Because you got to admit, a lot of the current main multiplayers
It's
are
big.
all battle royales.
But I think you're looking too much at like just streaming because like battle royales are exciting and they do have good things going for them. But personally, I'm just I'm just not the biggest fan of them. They're fine, but not a favorite by any means. And two, I think they've been around long enough that they're gonna start to dip. Like I was looking at for 2021, the games with the most concurrent players, and so I'll go through the list. It's the top
Yeah,
10.
yeah.
10 is GTA 5, 9 Apex Legends, 8 PUBG, 7 Valheim, 6 Dota 2, 5 Counter Strike, 4 Minecraft, 3 Crossfire, which is like essentially Counter Strike but in Korea, then League, and then first Fortnite. So there's a healthy mix of both. Well, battle royales are definitely a big thing right now. There is more going on, I think, than just that.
Yeah, and I think that's a fair statement to make. Like the biggest thing with battle royale, I mean, Fortnite's always gonna be a big battle royale because it's got so much more to it than a lot of battle royales give. Not necessarily in gameplay, but in like other events they put on outside of just playing their battle royale. They'll always draw
Concerts and
people in.
stuff. Yeah.
Like I was watching a video on just skill of battle royales. Like what's the most skilled battle royale versus the least skilled battle royale. The top two most skilled were Fortnite and Apex. Call of Duty was down near the bottom. Same with PUBG, just because they're very streamlined. Like, you know, you go in, you shoot people. There's not really any. It doesn't rely on as much. There's not as many dynamic or aspects to the games, right? They're pretty static. Where it's like, yeah, you know, you drop. You can set your loadouts for Call of Duty. You can. PUBG is very simplistic. You pick up a gun, try to shoot. It's not. There's nothing really to it outside of that. But then you have like Apex and Fortnite. Well, Fortnite has its building mechanic, but their argument for that was like, yeah, okay, Fortnite has their building mechanic, but once you learn the building mechanic and are good at the building mechanic, you've now simplified Fortnite. Whereas you have like,
I was gonna say the building mechanic. It's like it becomes one of your standard cards and what you can do. You know?
exactly.
It's just like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then you have Apex, where it's like not only do you have to be able to be good at shooters, now you also have to take in consideration, okay, who's the legend I'm facing? What's their ability? What's their tactical? What are they able to do? What's this team composition I'm facing? Because like, oh, maybe I'll be super aggressive. Oh no, they have a couple high tier defense legends that it can just mess your day up if you're too offensive against them or anything like that. So it's interesting with it how much people are looking into these things, but I also kind of agree with what you're saying, where it's like, yeah, they've kind of reached a peak where the games that are top tier battle royales, I don't think they're going to be unseated anytime soon. Like
No.
I think they've dominated the industry. Like Warzone's going to be there for a long time just because of COD's player base. Apex has established itself. Fortnite is way established itself. I'd argue that even people who have no clue about gaming, if you mentioned Fortnite to them, they'd easily be able to be like, "Oh no, it's
Oh
a
yeah.
video game. We know what that is." Right?
It's
So
like not the same like recognizability as like Mario.
yeah, exactly. And I think that's why it's tough to say. I mean, you have other things like you mentioned there, like League, which is a MOBA, and MOBAs are fairly large across any platform. Period. Like you had Smite, you had League. Pokemon Unite tried to bring out
Oh
something that
right.
competed with them, but I don't think it quite came across as people were hoping.
No.
And that's a big thing when it comes to people wanting that game is like if they want something and you didn't if they were expecting something and you didn't supply it in the way they wanted it, then it's just not going to go, right? Like I think people honestly were like, I didn't play Pokemon Unite, but just kind of gathering from what you guys talked about, it wasn't so much about, it wasn't like a Pokemon Smite, for example, where it's like, you're fighting it out with other Pokemon, see all this cool shit. It's like you kind of just go grab some orbs, drop some orbs off, and you win,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much. That's
Whereas
the short form.
as I think like people wanted that like emphasis on the battling between Pokemon, like all these cool moves you could use, all this stuff, and from what I understand, they didn't deliver on that. So it's interesting when you look at that stuff where it's like, yeah, MOBAs are still huge. Like League is still arguably one of the largest, I'd say, competitive as well as
Yeah.
streamed games that you can do. I suck at it, but that's just because I don't know. I'm just, yeah, we don't go there. I was good at Smite, and that was the extent of my MOBA
And so
experience. Yeah. Um,
I
but
have a
like,
question for you.
yeah.
Do you think battle royale is a genre?
At this point, I think it is.
But then why isn't like team deathmatch or domination a genre? Isn't it just a game mode at the end of the day?
To me, it is a game mode, but there are literally games that are just this. Like I feel when you get to the
Yeah.
extent where a game is just that, like where you're releasing a game and it's only this. It is a battle royale map. Versus name one game where it is just a team deathmatch, or where it is just they don't have any other game modes. They just are team deathmatch. They're just search and destroy. They're just that.
I would say Splitgate.
Yeah, but Splitgate has different game modes within it.
Yeah,
Like
but
it is a team deathmatch, but you have other game modes within it, much like Halo does.
I just don't understand why there's this big focus on battle royale. Why can't a battle royale game have other modes? Like it took Apex so long to put arenas in it, and I think that the developers are like, wow, our games are repet. I think they're looking for ways to get rid of that repetitiveness. And so they're adding in more game modes. So why not just make a game that's got flexible enough systems to be able to do a wide amount of game modes, including Battle Royale? Why does it just need to be Battle Royale? That's my biggest hang up.
And I get that because I feel like Battle Royales originally kind of it appealed to people who didn't, because if you think about a battle royale, it's kind of like a fast-paced RPG game like DayZ, where it's like, you know, you don't have as much, you know, there's the loot system, there's the opponent players that you got to take care of, and you want to win, like you want to end up taking out as many people as you can. And a battle royale game is kind of like a faster pace of that, where it's like, you know, the loot system's sped up, the you only have so many players that you have to kill on the map, and then you die and you respawn, start over from scratch, essentially is like the base around a battle royale.
Yeah.
So I feel like that when it first got brought into into existence, I feel like it really scratched that itch for people who you know wanted to try games that were kind of like DayZ, but didn't want to like spend 300 hours to find a shoe that doesn't let you freeze at night when you're walking around the map. Right? So I think that's where it first started. But I agree with you. Like now they're becoming repetitive, and that's where they're having to become unique. Because like PUBG got very boring very fast.
It's still boring. I think they're in a rut that they're not going to get out of, honestly.
No, I agree. And it surprised me when you had it on the top list of multiplayer games. That shocks me because there are so many better battle royales out there. And literally every single one you name is better than PUBG. Literally anyone you name.
True.
Pokemon, like like you could come out with a random like stick figure battle royale, and I bet it'd be more appealing to people. So it's just like I think that one's dying, but it's like all these other battle royales besides COD. I'd say COD is literally running off of people like Call of Duty. So I think Warzone, the only reason it's big is because people like Call of Duty. And now it's a battle royale that involves Call of Duty mechanics. Like I think that's the only reason it's big. There's nothing special about it. It doesn't have any kind of like really anyone can do good at Call of Duty. Like you really can. In battle royales, like there's so much opportunity for anyone to be like, oh, victories. I mean, we had a victory, which shouldn't have been a victory, where you landed on top of the people and we killed them because they were confused at what the hell just happened to them in their game. So it's like, I feel like that one's just because it's COD. That's the only reason Warzone's big, is because it's a COD. But like the other ones, they all have to have unique factors. And yes, you're right. Apex added arenas to diversify their game, give them another outlet for it. But if you think about it, arenas also gives players the opportunity to practice the main like head-to-head mechanic of their battle royale. Like it gives you that ability to practice, okay, you know, when you come up against another team, that in that competitive nature of Apex's regular battle royale mode. And I think that's why they added it, honestly. I don't think it really has to do with adding a new game mode for entertainment purposes. I think people weren't getting enough out of firing range to practice. That arenas fit that bill, and arenas just happens to be a fun like team deathmatch game mode where it's, you know, that's it shrinks down the battle royale into a 3v3 match. So to me, like, I don't think they're getting stale. I think that they're just adding new ways to improve at their game, because Apex is hard as shit to be good at. Like when you come up against someone who is actually good at that game, like ridiculously good, knows the hero or knows the legends, knows the guns. Specifically, if you're on PC, you have easier time with aim and like quick switching between players because you don't have any strafing over correction from the stick. I feel like then you can see like, okay, these people are amazing at this game and it's tough to beat them. And I think that's why Arenas makes a good fit, because it actually helps. Like I've noticed it help my end game, my main battle royale gameplay. Like when I am facing a team in their actual regular battle royale, I don't find them as outpaced or outplayed, because now you've played that faster game mode in arenas. So honestly, to me, it's more of the prime use of arenas is a training aspect of the game. Like it's essentially teaching you that close combat, that in tight combat between teams. Obviously, it doesn't help when you get sandwiched between two teams, but it helps with your, like, you know, in tight decision making. It challenges you with different guns and having to like have different, you know, if you have a favorite gun, well, you're not always going to have it fully decked out with purple and gold and everything, right? Like sometimes you'll have it only white, sometimes you only have blue. Like you have to learn how to use those guns in all aspects of them being there, because battle royals aren't always like, oh, here's all the loot you ever need. Like even if you have a
Yeah.
loba, even if you have a loba, you still can't guarantee you're gonna have all gold and purple.
And this is another reason why I don't think that battle royales are the definitive multiplayer game, just because of how RNG based it is. I like it can lead to exciting matches, but I find myself getting more frustrated when I put into a situation that I cannot win just because of the circumstance, rather than it being either I'm not as good as the other player or I messed up. That's what, like, when it's out of my control, that's when I get frustrated. That's when I get mad.
So would you say then maybe like let's because Call of Duty technically scratches exactly what you're talking about, because you can set your loadouts and you can get your loadout totally. You can preset it when you go into game and get your loadout. So would you rather have that style than what Apex is? Because Apex doesn't have that, and I don't think they'll ever add that. I feel like if they
No,
added
no.
if they added preset loadouts into Apex, as soon as you would just see far too much of like I feel like it would tilt the game in favor of people who are already insane at the game.
how how I would like to do it personally is like I would like to spawn in with the guns you want, but just like think of it how Apex does the shields, where you can level up your shields. I would like to see that with the guns as well, so I can choose what guns I want to use. But depending how good I do with them depends how good those guns become.
So it's almost like combining these two types of multiplayer then into the future of
Yeah,
multiplayer. Like maybe battle royale is the mode. Like if we're talking about like game modes instead of on off genre all by itself, but like a game mode, like battle royale is the game mode of the future. But you need to take in aspects of other game modes, such as like what you said, because I think that's a great idea. Because how many times have Eric and I been playing it, and you've heard me get so frustrated because I'm trying to do some stupid challenge and I can't
yeah.
find a freaking gun that fits my challenge.
That's another point I have. Is just the grind of battle royales. But yeah, no, you're completely right.
And I think like if you were able to pick your gun, like that doesn't guarantee you downs. That doesn't guarantee
No.
you anything. It means that you're having those guns. The one thing I will say is I think they need to spawn you if you're going to spawn with a gun. I think you still have to find ammo for it to use it.
Yeah, like maybe it has like one clip, but then that's
Yeah,
it.
because when you spawn into the game, it's focused on your hand to hand combat unless you find a gun right away. So I think that's an important aspect of Apex, where you still have that mad rush when you land on the ground. You're like, okay, where is everything? Like I need to find something. I think if they spawned you with no clip or like one clip in your gun, I think that should be it. That should be always the max. And maybe you can set that. Maybe you have like your primary and secondary gun, and your primary gun's the only one that spawns with a clip in it. Um, I think that'd be a phenomenal idea, and I think that's something Apex could easily put in because they already did with their shields. It's the same
Yeah.
idea. You just level up slowly. Now, wouldn't that destroy the point of looting in the game? Because like all you
It
have to do
would.
is all you now you could completely turn your eyes away from looting and turn it just to killing people.
But see, personally, looting is like one of my least favorite aspects of battle royales in general. I want to be shooting people. I want to be playing the game, not running around, not doing inventory management. That's why I play RPGs to look at my weight limits and all stuff like that. It's something I want. It's not something I want to think about in a battle royale.
Okay. No, I see what you're saying. So it's more about just in general. It's more about you just want to be playing like the competing against other people. Like
Yeah.
that's why to you a traditional multiplayer is more appealing, because it's just go in and kill people or do the objective that is given for that game mode.
Yeah, it's more straightforward, and with battle royales as well, I feel like it's a very competitive environment. So I feel a need to be good at the game. So that's why when I say like play Apex, like, oh, it's a stressful game, I gotta like actually think about it. A lot of times I just want to turn off my brain and play something just casually, but battle royales aren't that.
Well, and that's why you almost can count it as its own genre, right? Because you have to play it a certain way to
Yeah.
play the game, right? Whereas like a team deathmatch in Call of Duty, I can turn off my brain. Like I can be like, this is meaningless. Run at each other and just shoot the next person I see.
This is why I'm saying the games need to implement a bunch of game modes, not just battle royale. Like, let me switch up between things.
Yeah.
Give us more things to do.
Yeah. So what if you were to do like so you're if you were to talk to Apex right now, you'd say to them, maybe have these other game modes entitled in there, or would you just say that they're too involved with what they're doing that you couldn't?
Yeah, I think they've already got like their vibe going. They already got their community. They already like what they're doing. But for new battle royale like games, you want to try to enter into this market. You got to switch things up, and you got to be ready for the competitors to steal your ideas because that's happened time and time and time again. Like I think it was Apex that it was the first one to do respawns, and then Fortnite stole it, then Warzone stole it, which is totally normal. But I think for new games, that's what I would recommend.
Okay, so then yeah, no, I see what you're saying. I mean, I still think like for me, I much prefer battle royales over traditional multiplayer now. Like I got very bored of team deathmatch. I got very bored of I find myself only being able to play games like Splitgate, for example, for so long because I just find that it's just too, you know, especially when you face someone who has played the game a ton. I feel like traditional multiplayer tailors best for people who have played the game inherently. Like I feel like if you're good at the game, and you're able to choose what you want, your skill is at its peak. Like you are maxing, which is fair enough. That works both ways. My skill would also be at its peak for picking my guns, right? But I feel like it gives an advantage to people who are already good at the game because look at a game like any battle royale, Fortnite, Apex, doesn't matter. You start with nothing. Everyone starts in the same playing field. It does not matter. Like just because you're good at shooting doesn't mean you get any more advantage with punching someone or looting, right? Like you're kind of all on the same page, except for let's be honest, when it comes to especially with cross-platform play now, PC you can loot way faster. You can go through
Oh
inventories
yeah.
faster. You can change your you can have a higher camera rotation sensitivity on PC and be okay with it than you can on controller. Like with PC on let's do Siege for me. Like on Siege, my sensitivity is turned up stupid high because if I turn and the mouse stops, my thing stops. But to adjust that with an analog stick is so much more difficult to like counter that sensitivity, right? Like the sensitivity, I will overshoot every single time if my sensitivity is too high on a controller versus on PC. But you can get away with a lot more on PC. But either way, I don't know. I find traditional multiplayer games are you say like because for you said it's frustrating with like the looter and inventory management and stuff like that. And I will give Apex some benefit of the doubt. They did do some like good auto exchange of attachments because
Yeah, that's true.
I found that's very frustrating. Like when I played Fortnite or played any other games, I found it frustrating when I had to deal with anything in my guns. Like just if I find something better, just let me pick it up and that is the end of that. That is it. I don't want to have to go in there and be like, "Oh, is it better? Let me compare these side by side on my screen and see if it's actually better or whatever." Right? Like actually Back for Blood, I get frustrated with that.
I was
When I
gonna
have to
bring that
when I
up.
have to freaking look at it and I'm like, "What does any of this mean? Is this better? It's purple, but it's worse than my green item. Like how does this make any sense whatsoever?" It's frustrating.
Or the ACOG scope.
The ACOG, which is not an ACOG scope. It's a freaking sniper scope that they put on. It's like 2 times becomes 12 times on a goddamn gun that it shouldn't be 12 times on.
Uh,
That game's also weird for its sensitivity. I don't really understand it, but it just feels weird when I use its sensitivity. It feels very reactive compared to, like, I'll put its sensitivity to the same sensitivity I put every game I put at, and it feels way more reactive than other games. I don't know if it's just the color palette or because everything's dark or what, but it just feels that way. But anyways, that's besides the point. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of the opposite. I still think battle royales are the future to multiplayer because it brings out that competitive edge. And maybe it's competitive. Maybe it's the future to competitive multiplayer.
See, then I think about like League and all that, where it's still like outperforming a good number of battle royales. So like, and like that competitive nature, you're right. That is a big reason why battle royales are popular. I think that's like as we've experienced. You're in the only 3 teams left, and your blood's pumping. It's intense, and when you get that victory, it is much more fulfilling than like a standard multiplayer thing. But that's just not always what I want, and lots of other games scratch that itch to exactly the same extent that aren't battle royales. Like yeah, League, even something like Overwatch. You know.
Yeah. And that's where you kind of get into those different genres of competitiveness, right? Like if we're talking purely first person shooters, like this is because I know battle royales extend into other things. They're not just first person shooter. Well, actually, are they? I think they
Well,
are.
Fortnite is a third person.
Okay, third person first. So
Yeah.
shooters like any kind of shooters. I feel like for shooters, I think battle royales superior when it comes to competitiveness. But when you get to like MOBAs, that's a whole like that's another tier of like competitive. Because now it's like okay, now you got to compare. Like let's use Smite because I'm more knowledgeable about Smite than I am about League of Legends. I'm kind of an idiot when it comes to League of Legends. So like you have to have a good jungler, you have to have good rotations, like the call outs are just insane with MOBAs because it's like it's an RTS but in this in a in like and you're only controlling your character, but it's still an RTS in the fact that you have to have so much strategy going on that you get going. And I mean, Apex is the same, but I mean, the way we play,
Yeah.
we don't play that way. Like, we'll kind of to degree, like, depends how into it we are. Like, if we're really into it,
Yeah.
if we're really into it, all of a sudden it's like, oh, right, he's coming right, or you'll fucking ping 18 different guys that are coming at you and shit like that.
We're not like formulation 3B go.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I've watched some videos on people that have played Apex with, like, major callouts, and I'm like, guys, it's a shooter. You shoot the fucking guy. I don't need him to go here or this way, and sometimes you'll go against someone who you can tell is like trying to overuse their abilities, and you're just like, they like, oh, I feel like Octane's the best for this. When you watch someone play Octane and they're just throwing jump pads all over the place and going off of them like nothing, sometimes you just kind of stop, sit there, and you're like, he goes up and you're like, oh, you can't do anything from up there. So then you just like shoot him on the way down, and you're just like, okay, well, that was excellent. Good work.
Yeah.
Congratulations on trying to be aggressive, but didn't work out in the end for you. But I mean, I still think like it brings out something else in competitive. Because with the exception of Rainbow Six for like specific team death mode game matches or objective based game modes, I'd say it's the most competitive when it comes to that. Like Rainbow Six is extremely stressful the whole way through. It doesn't matter at what point in that game you're at, whether you're a 5 against 5 or all your team is dead and it's you versus the other 5 operatives.
Do you think the highly competitive nature is like almost fundamental for such a popular multiplayer formula like that?
I think it is because being a competitive like most people have a competitive nature. Like regardless, it varies. It varies on how competitive you are, but most people have to a degree a competitive nature. If they are good at something, they'll be competitive about that thing.
Especially when it comes to gaming.
100%. Like that's why you have toxic gaming. Like that's why you have people that will like you'll die and they'll start swearing at you in their after cam, or they'll message you. The best is when you kill someone, they message you after, and you're like, man, I really pissed this person off with what I just did.
Or like when you can hear someone like after you kill them and like the mic comms open up for like a couple seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I always loved about Warzone. We ran into that a bunch when we played Warzone, where it's like you fucking kill someone, they're like, "Whoa, you're cheating." It's like, okay, like sure, whatever, sure, I'm cheating, but I think it is important. I think it is integral for a game mode to be successful, is you need that competitive nature, and I think that's where you start to lose it. And I think competitive, not just in like every game has its meta. Like every multiplayer game, you go through seasons and there is metas that always exists. But I think you still need to have that diversity of gun use, right? Like Call of Duty has become a very, especially in its traditional multiplayer, is a run and gun game. Like there is, like even the people that are using snipers are quick scoping. They're not even using a sniper for, let's per se, what in real life a sniper is used for, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you have to, if you don't play a run and gun type of match in Call of Duty, you're not going to be successful in their traditional multiplayers.
Well, and like there's only a handful of actually viable weapons too,
100%.
that everyone uses.
Yeah, and that's why I think battle royales make it a little bit different. Like yes, there's always metas. Like there's meta in Apex, there's meta legends for that season because they always change, like they'll buff or nerf someone each season. It doesn't matter. Like this coming season, they buffed Watson's shield generator so that it gives you so, because remember when Eric always plays Watson, he loves Watson. And when you were getting shield, it was almost negligible. Like I was better off to sit there because it would get rid of explosions around me than it was to actually for its shielding purposes. But this
Yeah.
season they're upping it so it heals
Oh.
you. It heals your shield as fast as Lifeline's bot would heal your health.
Oh, that's
So that's gonna heavily change a lot of people's use for Watson. Watson's gonna become a big character to use in the upcoming season. But besides that point, it's you still can play in so many different ways. You don't have to play one way to be successful at a battle royale like Apex. Like we all play different ways. There's guns that do better. Like if you get an R301 that's fully decked out, it's like a freaking laser beam that shoots down range, right? Like no matter how far away they are. But so does the R99, so does the Volt, so does a few other guns. But you always get attacked by people with different guns. Like you're never I don't ever find myself that I'm always like, oh, what gun just killed me? Like it's so different all the time. Even my loadouts are very different all the time, with the exception I have to get a longbow. Like longbows are integral to my gameplay. I need to find a longbow all the time. But I don't find it as much of like a this if you don't have this meta, you're screwed. I don't think battle royales give that issue as much as a traditional multiplayer. And again, my only example is really Call of Duty because it's got to be the biggest like traditional multiplayer where it's just like team deathmatch, search and destroy, domination, all that stuff. If you don't play the way that they're currently playing in that game, if you can't adapt to just playing that way, then you're not going to do good. And I noticed it mostly with Advanced Warfare when that first came out. When they came out, and that game has to be one of the worst Call of Duties that's come out, period. But I really started to notice that run and gun mentality with that game because the maps just force you to play that way. Like the map design might just have ruined it for me personally because I get annoyed when I spawn and I move like 5 feet and I get run down by someone who's just coming around with a MP4 or something or MP5, sorry, and just like mows my health down like nothing. So that's my biggest argument against traditional multiplayer is that the metas kind of ruin it for me. If you don't play that game style, you're not going to be successful in that game.
But I bet like in battle royales, as you climb up the competitive ladder, there's got to be more and more of a meta, surely.
You do, but like I've been watching a lot of videos on because I'm trying to get better at Apex because I'm trying to learn about it because I really enjoy Apex and I don't mind like just jumping in for a few games. I don't find it super stressful to play Apex. But I've been trying to get better at my characters. So I've been watching like specifically people who use Bloodhound or Octane. I've also been watching video on the new hero who's coming out because I think I might get her because her abilities are very interesting and seem like they'd be very useful. I thought she'd be very overpowered, but there is actually like limitations to her abilities that I think are good limitations to have. Like her portal's a one-way portal, unlike Wraiths who you can use it both ways. So it is definitely going to be more of a you carry your team somewhere instead of like Wraith where it's like, okay, I'm going to trap someone and train them back into my other portal so I can kill them. But even then, like competitive, when you look at Legends, yes, in each rank they talk about how you have a percentage of Legends that are used. And believe it or not, it's really interesting. I was watching a video this morning on Lifeline. Lifeline was, and this is by a professional. He plays in a pro team for Apex and competes actual events and everything. And he was saying that Lifeline is very underused. In fact, it is the lowest used legend in Diamond and higher for Apex ranked matches. Now, her abilities are, and the reason she is they got dropped off because of her res shield. Like she used to have a res shield where it would come up and protect you. His argument was it was actually detrimental to you because it pointed out where you were. Whereas right now, you could run around, revive your entire team, and still shoot someone, and they have no clue where your friends are that you're reviving. So, I mean, yes, there is legends that get used more, but I don't think that plays as much of a role in use because it's always based on your playstyle. Like I can't play every legend. I can't. Like I suck with some legends. Like Wraith. I can't play Wraith. I don't understand how to use her abilities effectively in every situation like some people do with her. And I think that's where it's like, yeah, okay, you get competitive and people are good at the game inherently, but they're still going to have a favorite legend they play. And they're still going to push towards that legend.
legends are like just one small aspect of it, though. Then there's locations, there's weapons, there's just so many different things. There's so many different variables in a battle royale that I feel like it's a meta heavy. It almost encourages it. I feel like.
I would argue that for Apex specifically, I'd argue that Legends is the biggest changing aspect of how the game can go. Because yes, you can have guns, you can have the best guns in the game. If everyone was loaded out with an R301 or everyone was loaded out with a Volt, or the L-Star all of a sudden has become like a
Yeah, that's
very
like my
popular
example.
gun to
Yeah.
use. But even then, if I play 10 matches, I might run into someone who's using the L-Star like twice out of those 10 matches. Even though it's such a popular gun nowadays in battle royales. Same with locations. Like I don't find like yes, if I see the zone shrinking in on somewhere, I may be like, okay, I'm gonna go to this place. If the ring is shrinking this direction, I'm gonna go over here because I know the loot's gonna be better there, and I know that the advantage to my specific legend is gonna be better there, or my team's. I mean, obviously we don't put as much thought in that all the time, but when I play ranked, I'll put a little more thought into it. But I don't. Yeah, guns play a role in it. But again, I don't run into the same gun killing me every match. Like
See, I,
I get killed by every single gun equally across the board.
I think as we would, if we got higher in the competitive rank, I can totally see people like picking up an energy weapon, getting just looking for attachments and using it until they find an L star. I can see like specific weapons going higher and higher as a priority.
When I've done that actually, if I'm looking for a certain weapon, I'll pick up the first weapon of its type, so that I can start collecting attachments for that gun. 100%. I have done
And like
that openly.
like with locations, like you guys always land in the one building in the one town. I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know the
that is
locations.
that's purely not because of any strategic advantage there. That is purely because the way Eric and I have decided is when we used to play PUBG, you have to remember this. When we played PUBG, we would land as far away from everyone as
Oh, I
possible.
remember.
Right?
Yes,
Like we
always.
would
Yes.
try to. And we would go like half an hour without seeing a single person. And then the first person we see would just wipe us off the face of the earth because we just weren't prepared for whatever. So what Eric and I started to do in Apex when we started playing it again, because we took a pretty big break from Apex, like multiple seasons of breaks from Apex, and we came back, we started landing everywhere that was hottest. So that drop zone is just inherently a very hot drop zone. There's lots of people that go there, and the way I look at it is I'm either going to get wiped out immediately by someone, or I'm going to come out and be way more warmed up for late game battle royale than I am if I go and do nothing for a whole match.
That's still a meta, though. I'd say that's the meta that works for you guys.
It is a meta, but it's not. I don't think that's necessarily something that's going to impact the overall gameplay, like in a traditional TD where you're doing a run and gun gameplay. Like that's
Yeah. Okay.
something.
Yeah.
Like if you're dropping somewhere, that's not guaranteeing you can get better at that area, or you can get better at like yeah okay if you it's mechanics and you're like physiologically your brain will start adapting to things, right? That's how we learn, that's how we get better at things, which is why yes, if you constantly drop somewhere hotter and you're constantly dealing with better players, you're going to get better as a response to that because you start learning from it, unless you're an idiot, which in all fairness there's certain times I get just killed by someone and it's completely an idiotic, stupid reason why I got killed by that person. But I'd argue that it's not doesn't play enough of an impact on it for like that's a game changing thing. Like you don't have to land there to win. We've won landing in random areas. Like I said to Eric one time in Olympus, I was like, hey, there's this weird ball thing off in the middle of nowhere that I wanted to go check out. Had useless loot. It looked interesting, but had useless loot. And we ended up winning that match later on we just started running around wherever there was loot boxes. So to me, it doesn't play enough of an impact on the end game to cause it as like a game changing meta. Whereas
I can
like,
agree with that.
which again, when you play Call of Duty Team Deathmatch or Search and Destroy, if you aren't good at quick scoping or run and gun, I mean, quick scoping kind of I guess pairs with run and gun because it's like a run and gun version of sniping, I guess. Then you're not going to be very successful at Call of Duty. Like you look at any of the top tier when you're playing a Call of Duty match, the person with the most kills, almost every time I guarantee you they're a run and gun like SMG or quick scoping person. They're never gonna be, oh, I'm gonna take this mid tier assault rifle and I'm just gonna fucking, be careful and cautious as I go around these corners.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you do that, some guy comes flying out the window and just destroys you because he's like, you look at their camera when you look at his streamer who streams first person shooters, and it's hilarious because their camera's going like this all over the fucking place.
It's like a roller coaster.
And you're just like, whoa, I'm still looking in the one direction that I was looking. Right? So
yeah.
that's why to me it's like battle royales I think are more forgiving for allowing you to play the way you want to play. I don't think they force you, and this may be different. I only play Apex. I don't play Fortnite. We used to play Warzone, but I don't play Warzone anymore. So this is purely, it would definitely be biased to Apex, where to me in Apex you don't have to play a certain way to be successful. You have to play the way that is best for you, and that is how you'll be successful. Like I love to snipe, but I can't use a charge rifle, right? But there's some people who I've gone up against who just destroy me with a charge rifle, and I have no clue what happened. Like if you hit a charge rifle and get every bit of damage, it's 2 shots on like purple shields.
Yeah.
Like it's unbelievably powerful. It just is very hard to for me to use that gun.
I've done that once, and it was amazing.
It feels great when you get a kill with a gun you were never good with. It is like the greatest feeling in Apex. Period. Like if I get a kill with the G7, I feel superior to all. I feel like I've elevated myself to a level beyond what I could ever have comprehended. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's one kill, and the next game I use it, I can't hit anything worth a shit with it, right? So I don't know. I that's why to me, I would say battle royales are the future, is just because it allows you the most diversity to play the way you want to play. It allows you, and you can be successful at the game by doing that. In fact, I'd say that battle royales are almost, if you try to match every meta, I don't think you'll be successful in a battle royale. You might be, but I don't think it guarantees you a successful outcome, right? Because again, it's so situational. You have so many different things that can impact how that will go out. Like it could merely be you miss one shot. It could merely be, you didn't make sure your shields were fully healed. It could be you didn't have as good a communication as the other team you're facing, right? So I think that there's so many different aspects that make battle royales complex, but they also make it more playable for different types of play styles. So you don't have to play one way. Of course, there's situations like if I'm indoors and I'm using a Sentinel versus someone who's using a Volt, I'm going to lose that fight most likely. Not necessarily, but there's a pretty damn good chance. Yeah, like there's a pretty good chance I'm going to lose that fight just because of the advantage a Volt gives you in close and compared to a Sentinel. But again, you still can play the way you want to play and be successful. Whereas now in Call of Duty, I can't, I've played, even let's go Splitgate. Splitgate was I actually found that Splitgate was a very easy game to be good at. I don't think it was very difficult. I'm not a good first-person shooter. Apex is the first time I've ever been actually good at. Oh, I guess Rainbow Six was, but I don't categorize that under the same thing because it's such there's so many. Again, it's a lot of different things. Operative abilities change that. Team composition changes Rainbow Six so much that it's kind of a tough one to put in the same realm as Call of Duty. In that team deathmatch realm. But for me, Splitgate, I jumped after playing a battle royale, I was better at Splitgate. I don't think I would have been that good if I hadn't been playing a lot of Apex. And I think that's just because my ability to my diversity of gun use has made me better at other games. Because overall, yes, Apex has all these different guns, energy weapon, heavy ammo, blah 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 blah, but the end game, the guns are the same. You have a burst fire weapon, you have a single shot marksman rifle, you have a sniper, a submachine gun, and an assault rifle. Those your main categories, and shotgun, main categories of guns that you see in every shooter across the board. They just change based on type of game. And I think Apex forcing me to try all these different weapons, I think has made me better at other games such as Splitgate, where you get Splitgate's a little different because you pick up your weapons anyways. You can't preset. I don't think you can preset. Can you preset a loadout?
No, there's no gun customization. It's just the gun.
Yeah. So to me, it's that makes it much more Apex helped me with that aspect of things. But I don't know. It's tough. there's so many mechanics, but I still think battle royales give everyone a chance to be good at the game. Again, depending on, again, I've only played Apex to an extent where I can make that argument. I don't know about Fortnite. I haven't played enough in Fortnite. But what the video I was watching, the guy basically said once you figure out the building mechanic and it becomes something that you just know how to do, combining that in combat becomes an easier thing. He said that's the biggest hurdle you have to overcome in Fortnite is just learning how to use the building mechanic and then merging it with your combat. Once you can do that,
be natural.
yeah, once you can do that, it's very easy to be good at Fortnite. From what he said, I don't want to like say that's coming from someone who competes in it for tournaments and stuff like that. So I'm trusting someone who has actually like done good shit in the game. Warzone, again, because you can preset loadout classes, I think it has a similar issue to any other Call of Duty game mode where it's like once you can preset loadouts, I feel like you automatically are at a lower stage of ability to overcome that because now you're not even having to face someone who's really good that may not be using their ideal game set. Like if you're facing someone and they're not using their ideal preset, like if I'm using in Apex Legends, if I'm using a Sentinel and a Peacekeeper combination, I will be not at my best because I'm not good with the Peacekeeper. I think it's a crap gun. And then the Sentinel, I don't know why, but I can't hit shit with the Sentinel. It doesn't matter. If I have a longbow, I can hit everything. If I have a Sentinel, I can't hit shit. Doesn't matter what it is. So I think that's where, Warzone started to bridge that gap and almost ruined that ability for everyone. Like, you can be good at it because it's an open world Call of Duty. Controls are simplistic. Aim, shoot. There's not a ton of kick in most of those guns. Like, when you watch video clips of Call of Duty, like, good gameplay, there's, like, no gun kick at all. Every gun is like a laser beam that once you've locked on has zero kick whatsoever. And that's because you're able to customize them all that way. And as soon as there's a certain customization that people have gotten used to, everyone starts using it in Warzone. There is no like, I find like there is, they were talking about it a while back. There was one preset for a submachine gun that was in COD. And it was just unbeatable by most weapons because the fire rate was stupid, the damage was stupid, and because of if you put all the loadouts on it, its kick was nothing. Like I could literally let go of my controller, press fire, and my controller would stay pointed at, or the reticle would stay pointed directly at my target. So that's where, to me, it's like, you don't give anyone a chance. As soon as there's something like that where every good player can master, like, if you have no kick and you're unreal at shooters, you win. It doesn't matter. As soon as you do that, you win as a good player at first person shooters or third person, whatever. And so I don't think it really was a good example of a battle royale that does the best for its play, like gives everyone an equal chance. Like I will say, because Call of Duty's been in the world so long, most people are decent at Call of Duty that play Call of Duty. There are definitely better players that are like high caliber, like fucking drop in off a helicopter, take out 5 teams, and then walk out of there like nothing happened. But you also, like me and you, could drop in probably tomorrow with Eric, for example, and I'd argue that within a day of playing, we could probably get a win or two just because of the way we have played in the past. Like, we didn't play a ton of Warzone, yet I had like a bunch of wins, and I don't play Call of Duty a lot anymore, right? So I don't know. I think battle royals are the future, but I think trying to mix mechanics such as like full loadouts, I think don't work for battle royales. I think you automatically shift the favor in favor of people who are already good at the game. Like, you make them have to not do anything. I like what you said, where you can pick your gun, but you have to earn your attachments, or you have to find them. Like, have both options. Yeah. You can find them, or you can earn them across the board. And maybe it's like, Anyways, so I think that'd be a good way to kind of compromise for, like, pick your own weapon, or pick one weapon. Like, you get to choose one weapon that you start with, an alternative to your pistol. You always have that weapon. Doesn't matter. But you still have to earn it. But I think incorporating full loadouts is a mistake for a battle royale, because you automatically shift it in favor of people who are at their best in the game. Because, like, yeah, you can be good with something, but if you're unreal with a setup, with a loadout, you're going to win most gunfights you get into, right? It's no different than, yeah, you have a main and legend in Apex. If you get really good with the legend, you can compete with most people, but every legend has a couple counters within other legends, right? Like you could have someone who's amazing with Octane, but if you have a Revenant who just destroys his ability to use any of his abilities, Octane's a glass cannon. You can take him down pretty easily. Same with Wraith. If you eliminate Wraith's ability to phase or anything for a couple seconds, you can easily take her out. But if you can't do that, say someone doesn't have a Revenant, all of a sudden both those legends become a very effective offensive killer. So I just think there's more diversity in battle royales. I think they give more option to players who aren't necessarily good at the traditional multiplayer, but it also gives a more competitive aspect to those traditional multiplayers.
I have a question then.
Yeah.
How much do you think most battle royales being free to play affects their popularity? Versus traditional multiplayer games, I feel like more typically have a paywall be in front of them.
I'd say it makes it more accessible to people who aren't as good at the game. Like if I'm not good at a game, I mean, I don't care. I feel like we're kind of past this point because I'm not expecting myself to become a competitive anything player, right? Like I'm not even in playing games for that reason. I play games because I want to play the games. I don't play them because I want to be ultra competitive and win every single match. Like it's nice when you win, but it's not like I don't want to go play for Team Canada in esports or something like that, right? So I'd say having free to play makes it more accessible because a player who's not good at a game may be more willing to try a game that's free to play than they are going to go. For example, let's use Battlefield coming out. So Battlefield, love those games. I love them for that aspect. There's so much that they're just fun. Like there's a lot going on. You can destroy buildings. There's nothing more amusing to me than if I'm driving up in a tank and there's a wall there and I'm like, oh no, there's a wall there. And then you just shoot it. Oh, no more wall. Wall's gone. Awesome. But it's still $80. What did you say? $90 it was, or $80?
It's $90 for the next gen version. 90
Okay, so
Canadian.
So 90 Canadian for Series X and PS5 enhanced version of the game. If I'm choosing a game where it's like, well, I might not be that good at Battlefield. Like I may not, and that for some people, if you're not good at it, if you're all you're in it is to be good at the game, you're not going to have fun if you're not good at the game. You're going to be pissed off that you just spent so much money for it. But being free to play, battle royales give players the ability to be like, oh, I'll try Fortnite. See if I like the mechanics. See if I like the building aspect of it. Oh, I don't really like it. Doesn't really work for me. Okay, I'm going to go try Apex. Oh, I'll try some of these legends. See if I like that. There's abilities change the game. It's not really my thing. Oh, Warzone's free. I'm going to go try Warzone. And maybe you're better. You enjoy that traditional multiplayer, but you want to have it in a battle royale way. Then Warzone would appeal to you more. So I feel like it does affect their popularity in the fact that it's more accessible than a game that has an $80 paywall before it, right? And maybe that's a big issue. Maybe that's why traditional multiplayers have become so like stagnant in how their evolution is. Like there's no big game changers to traditional multiplayer. You have team deathmatch, you have search and destroy, domination, capture the flag. Like those modes have been in almost every first person shooter that's had a multiplayer aspect to it. Right? And I think that's where it starts to wear on people. Like their popularity is there because they've always been there, but they got stagnant in it. Whereas battle royales are free to play, but they also have to do something to draw people into their free to play. Like for me, there's nothing that appeals to me about Fortnite, and we've played it before a few times, and there's just nothing in that game that appeals to me and what I like in a game. But for someone else, it does. So I think it's the accessibility makes their popularity go up because more people have the potential to play them and have no like financial consequence to playing them. Like if I buy Battlefield and I don't like it, I just blew $90 because I can't go up to them and be like, give me my money back. I didn't like your game. Right? Like that. I mean, if it was Cyberpunk, that did happen and people said that and they gave them their money back. But in most aspects, a game's not going to just give you your money back, right?
One aspect I think traditional multiplayer games have a big advantage over battle royales is the progression systems. Battle royales kind of rely on their battle pass for any sense of progression, whereas a lot of traditional multiplayers have, like, whether it's challenges or whatever, but different unlocking things. I've always really liked that about traditional multiplayer over battle royale, where it feels a little more empty in that regard, especially if you don't have the battle pass.
100%. And I will give. I don't know if it's the same in Fortnite or Warzone. I have no clue. I doubt it is in Warzone, but it might be. The one thing I will give Apex about their battle pass is you can earn it for free by just playing the game a lot, right? Like if you put in, Eric and I don't even put in, like, you have 72 days to do the battle pass or something like that. It's like 3 months or something to do a battle. Every 4 months they come out with some new season. But you can earn your way to a free one. Like, you can get all the currency you need to pay for our free battle pass go around, as long as you complete that one battle pass. And I think that progression system makes it a little more appealing. I agree with you that progression systems in general are nice, like going up into like prestiging. Like, it gives you something to strive for, or getting attachments for guns, like completing challenges to get attachments for guns. I feel like that like gives you something to strive for. That also makes you better at a game when you have to go through these challenges to get there, because it's going to force you to do stuff you don't usually do. Which is kind of what Apex's Battle Pass does as well. It forces you to use guns you don't usually typically want to use. It forces you to, do things you don't want to use. So I'd say, depending on the battle pass and how they go about it, I feel it could be as fulfilling as any progression system in a traditional multiplayer. But I would agree with you that as of right now, I'd say the progression systems of a traditional multiplayer, if you took like a general progression system versus the average Battle Royale Battle Pass, I'd say that the traditional definitely has a big jump up on like progression and feeling full and getting stuff from that progression. I think with Call of Duty, for example, they've gone away from like the challenges progression, and they've gone to like, you can just purchase this attachment with money that you earn in game. And I think that kind of ruined Call of Duty's progression, because like Modern Warfare 1 and 2, and I'd say all the way up until like, I don't even know what order games came out. I'd say up to like the last one I played that before they changed it was Black Ops 4. Even you could purchase stuff. It wasn't challenge based. I don't remember. There's too many of them. They come out with too many Call of Duties at one time. But like, once they went away from the challenge system, I felt like it just became as empty as a battle royale that has a shitty battle pass, right? Like, anyone can buy this. You don't have to actually be good or completed or challenged yourself in any aspect whatsoever, which, yes, incorporates accessibility, because I'll admit, when I played Modern Warfare, it wasn't until Modern Warfare 2, World at War kind of games that I got better at Call of Duty. Modern Warfare, I was not good at Modern Warfare. I was shit. Like, I think my KD was like 0.2 or something like that.
Yikes.
So it was bad. But and the challenges frustrated me, because I had iron sights for majority of the time, because I just couldn't like do challenges very well. So like, it was frustrating. And once I got better, it was like, oh, these challenges are actually pretty fun, because it makes me like, try new things. But I mean, yeah. In general, I think you're right. In general, I think traditional multiplayer progression is better than battle passes. But I'd say that games like Apex are starting to curb that in making the battle passes more fulfilling and give you more for it. And even without the battle pass, like this next go around, for example, I'm probably not going to get the battle pass unless I progress high enough in the rankings to get the battle pass. Right? And I think that's a neat system for it. I like that you can buy battle passes like in the middle of a season after you see how far you've progressed, instead of like buying it and feeling, oh my god, I gotta progress to like make this worth my time. So I don't know. I think they definitely need more content, especially skins. Like, you get a lot of useless content in a lot of battle passes. Like, there's so much like, for me, I don't care about the little things that hang off your gun or whatever, like
trinkets
whatever. I don't give a shit about that. I'm not like shooting someone and like all of a sudden I pause, I'm like, oh, look at my cute little dog thing. Like, I don't care. Like, skins of guns, awesome. You need cool skins, and skins of whatever you are, like people, your character, you need good skins for that and stuff like that. That's more important to me. They need more of that in battle passes, because you have too much time where it's like, okay, you get like 2 skins for 50 levels of a battle pass. And that shouldn't really be the case. Like, if you're putting in enough time to get all those levels, it should be way more worth it for you than just like this one badge that says, "Oh, you completed the battle pass, congratulations," and like a few skins for your guns.
Yeah. It's
I
like
think they need
pat on the
more.
head.
Yeah, I think they need more because I bet you if you had way more stuff like all these cool skins you could get, or gave more like for Apex, for example, there's these heirloom points you can
Yeah.
get. I don't even know how you can earn them. I honestly have no clue. Like occasionally you get them in a random box, a loot crate that you get. But besides that, I have no clue how to get them other than like just outright purchase the points with money. So it's like there's things like that. Like make your game. There should be no aspect of the game that is closed off to a player to earn it. It could be hard to earn it, but make it able to be earned. And I think that's where battle royales start to lose people is in their microtransactions and the fact that it's like if I can't earn it with my ability and I have to buy it, that ruins it for me for that aspect of it.
I think the free to play nature of a lot of them has a lot to do with how the monetization systems are set up.
Like I think what I would do for me personally is I wouldn't mind if battle royales cost money. Like let's say because I think most battle royales that I played would at least be worth it'd be less than a full game for sure. Don't get me to pay for like a full $80 game. But maybe you charge like $40 for the battle royale. Like that's your, Apex comes out. It's not free to play, but it's $40. It's half of the price of a full game, but it's still like reasonable to pay. And the developers get something out of it. I would pay $40 if I knew there'd be less microtransactions and there'd be more content that you could earn in the game.
Well, then you got like each new legend would come for free, I assume, and like stuff like that.
Yeah. Like I do like that it's I do enjoy that they do allow you to earn legends. You don't have to pay money to get legends like you did in like Smite. It was very hard to earn legends free. So you ended up just buying that whatever all legends God forever pass. And I think that Apex has done a good job of being like, no, you can earn these legends. You just gotta like you gotta level up like 15 times and you can get a new legend. Right? So it's and from my understanding, even when you're done leveling up, like if you reach level 500, which is the max level for Apex, I believe, you can still have like an experience level up, and it'll just give you points.
Okay.
So you can always like get new legends that come out. You're not stuck with like, oh no, I'm level 500. I can never get a new legend again unless I pay for them. Right? So there's trade-off. 100% trade-off. So then my question is then, Peter, so your stance, are you still standing that traditional multiplayer is the future of multiplayer?
Yeah, no, I think so. I think Battle Royale will probably always be there, and we're not going to be able to get away from it, but I think it's simply the largest piece of the pie. But the standard multiplayer is essential, and I think it gives you the complete picture. Having a battle royale and standard multiplayer, I don't think battle royale will be able to last forever.
Okay. Yeah, and then for me, I mean, I think I made my stance clear. I think for me, battle royales are crucial for multiplayer. I don't think they'll be the only multiplayer ever because you're always going to have traditional multiplayer. It's never going to go away. Like it's been here since we started gaming. It's going to be there probably well after we're done gaming. Right, so I don't know. For me, but I think it is the next like generation of multiplayer. Like I think it is the progression into the future for multiplayer, and taking aspects of both sides is going to be important in battle royales maintaining its relevancy. I think as soon as they go away, as soon as they become stagnant, they won't last because they don't have enough of a footing to last being such a stagnant game mode.
What I'm curious about is whenever the next big multiplayer trend happens, what happens to Battle Royale after that? Because I don't think standard multiplayer is ever going to go away. It might get quieter and quieter, but I'm curious to see what happens when there's another big trend. What happens from there?
Yeah, and it'll be. I'm also curious about that, especially like if something big does come out, because like that's the whole gimmick behind gaming is you need that next big thing. You need to be the game developer that finds that next big thing. So someone's looking for it. They may have found it. They may not have found it, but someone is looking for it. If it is a DayZ style game, I fucking quit gaming instantly. If that is the new
Apex Legends,
my God, I just remember us trying to play DayZ as a group, and unless you've already started, like their continuously loot system does not fucking work whatsoever. Like
Yeah, I don't understand it.
it doesn't make sense to me. It was no fun whatsoever, but you know, things will change with that. But yeah, so that's kind of our makeup of that. Like, so we are split down the middle. We don't have a third person to settle this. So, I mean, I'm definitely gonna post this on the TikTok, make everyone involved in this conversation. If you have any opinions on what you think the future of online gaming is, let us know. Like, we're very interested to see what other people have
Yeah.
to say about these topics, especially like give some defense to it. We want to hear everyone's perspective on battle royales, traditional multiplayer, pros and cons of
Show your
both.
work.
Exactly. You can again. This is FairShare Gaming. Thanks again for stopping by, checking out the podcast. We are live bi-weekly with this podcast. In between that, I'm going to be streaming other things as well, and Peter might join me for some of those, not others. But yeah, bi-weekly. So our next podcast will be on the November 10th is our next, or no, sorry, that's October. I lied.
14th.
Calendar. November 14th is our next podcast. Stay tuned for the topic. We'll be posting the topic a week before the podcast goes live. And that way you guys can join in and get discussing prior to the podcast. Again, thanks for watching. I'm Jared, this is Peter, and we are FairShare Gaming. Have a great
good
rest of your day. See ya.